You know, guys, my big takeaway from this episode of Mob Psycho today is one thing, that eating your vegetables isn't always a good thing. Sometimes you turn into crazy cultists. Who'd have thunk it? But welcome back to the channel today, guys. And man, Mob Psycho is really starting to get interesting, actually. I really like what's going on. How we got the divine tree at the end of our last season, how it's playing such a huge integral role into our story in this season. I very much like that. And can I just say, it was obviously Dimple. Come on now, like, who else would it be? It was clearly Dimple that was behind all this. Not surprising whatsoever, but still a very interesting turn of events. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it and talk about Mob Psycho 100, Season 3, Episode 4 today. So our episode today literally begins with Mob just heading to school, seeing Masato and asking her, "Hey, so why didn't you come to our meeting spot yesterday? What's up with that?" She's like, "Oh yeah, sorry about our plans yesterday. I totally forgot about them." And I'm like, damn, that's so mean to Mob, man. Come on, don't do Mob dirty like that. She continues and says that the brass had a meeting the day before the gathering, and that's when he appeared, the true founder. "I'm sorry I dragged you into this when you were clearly the wrong person. You don't gotta worry about it anymore." And Mob has no idea what's going on right now. As we transition to Mob going to his club later in the day, and he asks Tomi the same question. She says the same thing, that sorry, I forgot. But I have no idea why I suddenly forgot, though. Now, Mob, for good reason, finds this suspicious, and he asks her, does it have something to do with the Psycho Helmet religion? She's like, damn, how'd you know that? As she says that some members approached me yesterday and invited me to some seminar. And I ended up way more interested in that than the universe. She continues and says, boys, starting today, this room is no longer for the telepathy club, but the Salt MS branch of the Psycho Helmet religion. We will pray to them. Apparently, you'll be blessed if you do 5 minutes a day of prayers. Mob, finding this suspicious, actually goes to Reigen, who tells him that, so the gathering for the Psycho Helmet religion yesterday. That video of theirs has over 2 million views. He says that after the display he did in that video, everyone there fell in line. Mob changes the subject and asks him, so there's something important you wanted to talk to me about, right? So Reigen actually ends up showing him some pictures of some buildings. And apparently these buildings are deteriorating due to some supernatural phenomena. As he says, I went to have a look up close and it wasn't due to faulty construction. The cause was plant roots. The roots across the city are busting through reinforced steel and concrete to scour for nutrients. Reigen says that the culprit is the most popular thing in the city right now, the divine tree. He says if we continue to let that thing run wild, all we'll ever get are those jobs asking us to investigate buildings. Also, we might kinda, sorta, not really, but kinda in a little bit, maybe a pinch, maybe a hair, be responsible for that thing showing up, you know? Just a little bit. So he suggests that they go and destroy the broccoli. And it's here we see the effect that the divine tree is having on Salt City, because we see that they're making all these different products across the entire city. All these food products, all these things that are slowly creeping into everyone's lives because they're consuming it one way or another because it's just become that popular. And it's here we see Hanazawa's no exception, as he got homemade cookies sprinkled with some divine tree powder on them. Now he tries it and thinks everything's normal at first, but something's not right. He starts acting a little weird, and he actually goes and throws it up, describing it as a powerful brainwashing that totally takes over your emotions. Now, realizing this, he actually leaves his house and says that the source of the brainwashing seems to be coming from the divine tree, as he actually lands on the divine tree with the intention of destroying it. But as he tries to, he realizes that there's a barrier around it protecting the tree, as the tree actually pulls him inside of it, and he gets confronted by Psycho Helmet himself. He asks him who he is, and he's like, who am I? I'm God. And with that one stare, he's able to put him under brainwashing again. But Hanazawa is not weak as he realizes what's going on, breaks out of it, and attacks Psycho Helmet. He says, "How dare you brainwash me not once but twice?" And Psycho Helmet says, "It's not brainwashing. This is a blessing. For those who have nothing and long for a place to belong, I give them exactly that." As he tells him that you're a bit off your rocker if you're going to defy God. Hanazawa realizes that his brainwashing signal forcefully makes people venerate the Psycho Helmet religion. But strong emotions can fight it and overcome the brainwashing, as he actually destroys Psycho Helmet's body in this situation. But something's not right as Psycho Helmet rises again, and Hanazawa is shook. Psycho Helmet tells him that you won't be able to stop me. Will you, Hanazawa? As he says that, I guess you really were just a worthless evil spirit. So what's with the appearance, Dimple? As Dimple tells him that I used the stems of the divine tree to create a body, and designed it with the icon of the Psycho Helmet religion in mind. Basically Mob. Hanazawa asks him, does Mob know you're flying off the handle like this right now? He says that Shigo doesn't matter. I've only ever had one goal, and that's to become a modern day god. Hanazawa tells him that's a shame. I guess I'll tell Kakiyama that you quietly passed on as they start fighting again. As we transition to Mob and Reigen, and Mob tells Reigen that something feels strange. It feels like we're being watched everywhere we go. He says, you said you wanted to destroy the broccoli, but what did you have in mind? And it's here that Reigen reveals his guaranteed to work, 100% certainty, no possible way it could fail plan of pick it up, drop it in the ocean. Foolproof, right? Mob tells him that it'd be great if we could find someone to help. This shit's probably heavy. As Mob suggests Ritsu and they go and pick him up. They start filling him in on what the plan is, and he's not exactly thrilled about the idea, saying it's impossible. Mob says a while back a few of us carried a piano. It would have been impossible alone, but we could do it together. This is no different. As Ritsu stops and notices all the strange behavior around all the Divine Tree products going around town. As he asks Mob if he's heard of the Psycho Helmet religion. He says, I'm not a believer in it, but there are a lot of believers at our school apparently, and the rate that it's spreading at is very bizarre. As Reigen says, alright, let's pull this thing out quickly and get the hell out of Dodge. And I'm with him on that. Let's get the hell out of here. Shit's weird. Never get involved with cults, kids. As Ritsu pulls out a piece of candy and says, I got this from the student council president earlier. And it's pretty clearly a Divine Tree candy, but he don't know that. As he gives a piece to Mob and Reigen, who decide that, we'll eat it later. Smart idea. And after this, Ritsu starts acting weird, as he actually leads them all to the Seasoning City Civic Center, and says that there are some people I want to introduce you guys to. And as they enter, they see a bunch of people staring at them as Ritsu says, they're members of the Psycho Helmet religion. And the vibe in here is very unnerving. Cults are unnerving, guys. If you didn't know that. As he says, bro, let's rethink this. As he tells them, we need the Divine Tree in our city. Mob asks him what's the matter, and he says, I just suddenly realized that I need to protect the Divine Tree. Reigen asks him, what are you planning to do by bringing us here? As he looks around and notices the candy is here as well. As he realizes that something is clearly off here, as they actually run out of the building. After they've gotten away, he tells Mob that if we've stayed there, we would have fallen under the same group hypnosis and ended up believers. He tells him to take out his candy right now and explains that this might be how Ritsu got brainwashed. Mob, realizing that, starts freaking out and his explosion meter actually goes up. Reigen tells him to calm down. He doesn't seem to be in any real danger yet, so we need to carefully look into, but he gets interrupted by the old man, who tells them resistance is futile. Psycho Helmet-sama sees all. As Reigen tells Mob that, Mob, I think you're right. We're definitely being watched. As they get approached by even more brainwashed people and have to run away again. As Reigen says that, looks like most people in the city have become Psycho Helmet religion believers. He says Psycho Helmet is an unknown psychic. I have no idea what he's thinking, let alone what his endgame is. I'm sure he'll try to interfere if we go to the Divine Tree again. And as they're walking, Reigen suddenly asks him, what do you think about the Psycho Helmet religion, Mob? Do you think they're bad guys? Mob tells him, no, I don't think they're bad people. They were just having fun doing something as a group. But things are different since their new founder appeared. If that person is a fake and is fooling everyone into worshipping them, I don't like how they're doing things. Reigen asks him that there was never a true founder, so how can you call him a fake? Are you trying to say that you're the true Psycho Helmet? The founder's existence was based on a false image to begin with. I don't actually think Psycho Helmet's a bad guy. Every community needs a leader. It's natural to think of him as the president of a club. I'm sure it's a tough job. You don't need to hold a grudge against him or anything. As he tells him that maybe it's not a good idea to take down their divine tree from them. But Mob realizes something's wrong. As he says, Master Reigen, this is just a hunch. But have you become brainwashed? And this stops Reigen dead in his tracks for a second. Reigen says, so this is what it feels like to be accused of being brainwashed when you're not. Denying it, but Mob notices something. About how everyone who's been brainwashed has done the same pose. And he realizes it's too late for Reigen. And this causes him a lot of pain because now Mob is alone. As he walks off on his own and says, if I'm just mistaken, that'd be great. I might be the only one left in the city. As he approaches the Divine Tree himself, alone. As he says that, I want to meet with them and talk with them directly. And as he approaches, everyone realizes that, wait a minute, Kageyama Shigo is the original Psycho Helmet. As everyone starts cheering for him and saying, we have 2 founders now. As they cheer for him as he approaches the tree alone. And our episode ends. And I'm kind of liking this development. Honestly, guys, like, I can already see this being an incredibly emotional season. I can just imagine his confrontation with Dimple now in my head. Like, the final confrontation. I don't think this is going to be it, since this is, like, the middle of the season. I just imagine, like, this season ending with Mob finally making Dimple pass on. And I can just see that in my head and how emotional that's going to be. I don't know. I just think this season is going to be incredible. I think it's going to be great. And I really like the turn of events we're doing. Kind of putting Mob on his own, by himself. It's kind of giving him a chance to grow at the same time. And I really like that development for him. But let me know what you guys think down below. Because I think Mob has been great this season. This Mob has just always been great every season. But I don't know. I think this season's going to go crazy towards the second half. But let me know what you think down below. And that'll be it for today's episode, guys, you know. I love Mob. Mob's just such a nice, feel-good show. Always puts a smile on your face every single time you watch it. So until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day. And remember, do not eat your vegetables. You will become a crazy, psychotic cultist. You heard it from me. Until next time, guys, I'll see you.